Wow. Crazy. What's going on, guys? So, oh boy. So I just literally did probably like a half an hour podcast episode only to realize that I never pressed the start button and so it never streamed. It was a pretty good one too. Um, so I'm going to, but I do believe in everything for a reason. So I'm going to do it again with the intention that it's going to be even better, even more focused than it was the first time around. And again, if you're watching this and you're wondering, like, oh, what are all these posts? These are all posts that end up going on to my podcast, One Life with Donnie Rouse. Again, One Life with Donnie Rouse. You can get it on Apple, Spotify, any podcasting streaming platform. So, without further ado, oh my, I can't believe I just did that. Hi guys, my name is Donnie, and you are listening to the podcast One Life. Too old to travel. It is our internal world that creates our external experience. It is the beliefs that we hold that shape and color the world around us. How have you been experiencing life? What has been your experience? Has that been one of struggle and fighting? Has it been one of excitement and joy? What has been your experience? What I want you to start to do is to take a look inward at what's going on internally and how one small shift, as how you look at things, can change your entire life, your entire world. Change happens when we change our internal world. Because we're here on this earth, we don't experience the world, we experience ourselves. And in this, I'm going to share an experience I had in Ireland when I was most recently traveling. To drive home that point. But before I go there, I want to leave you with a few questions to ponder. How have you been experiencing life? What have you put some words to it? Like, what has been your experience? What have been your beliefs that you've outwardly spoken about an area of your life or your life in general? Is that absolutely true? When I ask you the question, is it absolute? Meaning, is that an absolute truth, or are there other people who are living a completely different life? Because what I want you to realize is that, yeah, it might be true, but it's only true for you. And that if other people are having a different experience, and maybe they're happy, right? You might be stuck in an experience and feeling miserable and like the weight on your shoulders. But someone else is doing it and they're extremely happy. The point is to show you that there is another way. And then thirdly, what if you adopted their view, their life? Or said differently, what if you adopted the opposite belief or view of this particular area of your life? Most recently, I was in Ireland for my birthday. I travel every year for my birthday. It's one of the several trips I do a year, visiting to new countries, because that is just what I do and what I like and what brings me passion and joy. When I landed in Dublin, one of the first things I realized was that, well, one, it was cold. It was kind of cold when I landed early morning and it was chilly, but that's not what I was going at. I went to Dublin. I stayed in a hostel, and the first thing I noticed was that it was very young. Everyone that I met, it seems like the majority of the people that were staying at this hostel were probably in their 18 to 20. Now you're probably saying, well, of course you stayed in a hostel. That's what hostels are. No, they're not. They're not like that. I've only experienced that one other time. I was in Bologna, Italy, and I was staying at a hostel, and it was very difficult to find anything in Bologna because there was a housing crisis with college students, right? College students, there's a big university, and students come in, but there's no housing. Or if there was, it was very expensive. So students would stay at the hostels. They'd come into the city for 2-3 days, do their classes, and then they would get back out and they would head back home. So as a result, there was a lot of college students there. And come to realize that Ireland was very much the same way. So I experienced that in Dublin. I was like, man, I just feel so old here. I'm 41. And that was the thought process that was going in my mind. I went up to Belfast and then went over to Londonderry and then down to Galway. And the experience was almost uniform across the board. I mean, I couldn't even find a hostel. I got a bed and breakfast when I was in Londonderry. But when I went to Galway, it was amplified too. It was like, all right, well, I was in this hostel and everyone was like, they're all youth. They were all like young college kids. I was like, well, what gives? I didn't connect that. Like, all right, well, that's what it was because I didn't know. I didn't know. So I was making these false beliefs, these false assumptions in my mind. Left Galway, went down to Killarney, to the Ring of Kerry, went over to Kinsale, up to Blarney, up to Cashel Rock, and back to Dublin, making a bunch of stops in between. When I got back to Dublin, it was the same experience. Again, all young kids, and thankfully, I did meet some great people when I was there. As I do in all my trips, I always meet at least one person that I can call a friend for the rest of my life. And I got back home, and so people were asking me, well, tell us about your trip. How was your trip? And I would start the story when I said, I'm putting the emphasis on story because it really, how you portray things is really like a way of how you're processing it internally. It's a story. And you could change that at any moment. So I started by telling people, well, it was okay. And I felt like I was the oldest person in Ireland. Yeah, the Guinness was amazing in Dublin, better than anywhere else in Ireland. But yeah, I just, I felt like I was just older. Something felt different. It felt off. As I was telling this story, I was kind of like, the more you tell a story, it's almost like the more ingrained it becomes in you. So I was starting to tell my story that I was too old to travel. I picked up, I'd been reading the book Psycho-Cybernetics, and one of the things that it touched upon was like belief system about age. It was like the last chapter in the book. And they say, in America, we say, all right, every 12 months, you are a year older. Right? So I have 41 years by the American standard or whatever standard it is. But is that real age? Right? Isn't age something more biological? Yes or no? And then he asked the question, he goes, well, what if we changed? You said, you know what? We made a new discovery. A year is really 15 months, not 12, 15. When I said that, I was like, well, how old, if it were 15 months, how old would I be now? 15 months. Oh, that would make me 31. Literally, the moment I made that distinction, I literally felt lighter and younger because it put me in the mindset of when I was 31. Coincidentally, that was also when I really, really started doing like these big solo trips, right? So it changed my mindset instantly. And then I thought about my most recent trip. I was like, what was the belief system that was guiding me when I was in Ireland, that was shaping my experience? Was I older than some of the people, like the majority of the people who were in the hostel? Yes, I was. Should that have impacted my experience? No, it shouldn't have. I've been traveling around 40, that was my 45th country. I'm about to make my 45th country. I'm sorry, my 44th. My 45th is about to be Portugal, coming up in 2 weeks. In all those experiences, I've had relationships and had great times with people of all ages, from 18 all the way up to like mid 50s and above, right? I mean, most recently on this trip, I met a couple that I don't even know how old they were. They were probably maybe 70. But I had a great time. So age was never a factor until I had made it a factor in my own mind. As I was reading this, and I realized, all right, well, if I am the age I am biologically, yes, experiences shape us. But how would that shape everything? How would that have shaped my experience in Ireland? It would have completely shifted it. It would have completely changed what I was willing to do, the activities I was willing to partake in. Even when I go out, I probably would have had a couple extra Guinness beers or maybe a JMO. Right? So I was allowing this belief system to shape my experience. And where did that belief system come from in the first place? This is what I want you to realize more than anything is, where do these belief systems come from? My parents. my friends, the culture, right? I mean, I don't know my parents, my friends. Oh, you should get married. When are you gonna settle down, have kids? You need to start worrying about your life. Friends, oh my God, dude, you're getting older. You're gonna have kids, and everyone questioning my own decisions for my life. When the only person who has a complete authority and the ability and the to decide is really me on what is right for my life. No one else can tell you what is right for your life. Only you can decide that. And then let's get to the culture, right? No one I don't know anybody really, I mean, with the exception of like my travel friends that I've met, but no one here home. Like there are very few people I can say who are like, go out, travel, experience the world the way that I like to experience it. They're all married, kids, and I'm not downplaying any of that. Right? I mean, they have their lives. They have what is right for them, and I'm doing what is right for me. But they have no problem putting their influence and saying, they admire me in many ways, but then they're like, oh, well, yeah, you're getting older, man. And they start poo-pooing on the things that I'm doing, realizing that they're really just projecting their own lives on me. Do you have people who do that on you? So the intention here is I want you to realize that sometimes the things you can enjoy literally can shift because people poo-pooing on your dreams, the things that you like, because they're portraying their own beliefs about life and they're layering it onto yours. And all of a sudden now you have the stack of like blankets and weights that are holding you down, and none of them are yours. None of them are yours. So the only way to really start to peel back these layers is to become conscious and open yourself up to new perception, new ways of thinking. And those new ways of thinking were kind of what it's mentioned in the first few questions that I answered. And I'm going to go to those now. But in closing, I wanted to go back to like the idea of age. Like when I shifted my perception on, all right, well, what does it mean to be 41? Well, do I feel 41? No. I mean, I take care of my body really well. I don't feel 41. I don't look 41, right? But once there was that shift saying, all right, well, what if 15 months were a year? What if 20 months were a year? How would it be? I'd be, all right, I was 30, at 15 months, I was like 31. At 20 months, I'd probably be like 20 something, 25. I don't even know. But what we think changes the way we see the outside world. And when I realized that belief system was what was shaping my experience in Ireland, it was enough to say, oh, you know what? I don't have to live this way. I don't have to believe that. I can choose. I can have a good time regardless of who I'm with, however old I am or think I am. So let's bring it back to your own life, to your own belief system. Think about some areas. Maybe it's an area where you enjoyed once, but now your feelings about it have changed. What is causing that shift? What is causing that change? Maybe it's an evolution. Maybe you've evolved and you're no longer that person, so your preferences have changed. Totally understandable. But maybe it's because other people's belief systems have infiltrated your psychology. And now all of a sudden you're taking on their belief systems, their shoulds, all that stuff. What is the belief system guiding this emotion, this feeling? Next, is it absolutely true, right? Is it absolutely true for everybody? Are there other people who are having a different experience than you with regard to the same topic? Lastly, we'll throw this in there. What if you were experiencing it like them? What if you were living their shoes? How would that feel? Try that on, right? The cool thing about our minds is that we can literally try on anything without having to experience it. Try it on. How does it feel? What emotions come up? What I want to make you aware of is what is your own guidance? What is your own desires versus what other people are dumping on you? Because the only way you're going to experience a life that is fulfilling and joyful, exciting, and all the things you want it to be is by taking the reins and steering it in the direction you want. But we have to be mindful of those pitfalls, those ditches, because they can break one of our wheels in our wagon, right? We have to be mindful. Those things are literally lurking in us subconscious, so we have to stop to look out sometimes to say, or what is guiding this journey? Because sometimes it's an outdated map, and it's a map that was given to you by someone else who has no idea what the journey even entails anyways. You are the map maker. You get to determine your end destination, how you get there, how you enjoy it along the way. That is all I've got for you guys. I hope you, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this in some way connected you back to your heart, to your core center, and maybe uncovered some of those unconscious beliefs that you had about something that you gave up because you thought you were supposed to or you should. Hopefully, it sparked that little bit of desire to say, you know what? Yeah, it's not too late for me to do this. I'm not too old. That time hasn't passed. I can still do this. There is no time limit. And that you go for it. If you enjoy this, if you want to subscribe, comment, or ask a question, you can do so by visiting me at www.donnyrouse.com. Again, www.donnyraus.com. Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. God bless you all. And remember this, you get one life. Live it.